Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Glad and thankful to have you here. Today's Thursday, the 9th of May, and it's 7:02 a.m. Central Time, and I'm glad to have you here. Thanks so much for tuning in live. What's up, Bruce Burtwhistle, Mommy, Southcott, first time here. Nice to see you. Good morning from Alderney, the Channel Islands. Well, that's exciting. Nice to have somebody here from the Channel Islands. And if it's your first time watching the show today, we hope you'll enjoy it and you'll stick around, follow the channel, and join us for our regular schedule every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. Andy Opperman tuning in from the road. Make sure that you keep your eyes and hands on the wheel. There you go, Andy. We appreciate you very much for joining us. All right, we've got a lot of great content today. The big story, Barron Trump to step into the world of politics. Yes, at 18 years old, we're going to be talking about Barron Trump today at 7:30 a.m. Central. Barron will enter politics as a delegate to the Republican National Convention. It's going to be an interesting conversation considering there is literally a cult of people out there dedicated to making Barron Trump the God Emperor of the United States. You think I'm joking? I'm not joking. I've got a billion memes to share with you to prove how there is a conspiracy to turn over the keys, to abolish the three branches of government and to hand unitary executive power to a strongman, Barron Trump. You think it's, or why are you laughing? Stop laughing. It's not funny. Yes, it is. It's very funny. We've got that as well as many other interesting topics today at 8 a.m. Central Time. We're going to speak to Camelia Peterson for her regular Thursday slot at 8 a.m. Central Time. We're going to talk to her about a few interesting stories. The fight over school choice continues here in Missouri. I've been doing a little trolling on X, as I do every day. You know how I am. And a little trolling is being done back. The leftist lobbyist that I have been poking with a stick over the last couple of days is coming after me. She looked into my past and she found out that I used to be a libertarian.
How dare you?
No. I used to believe in liberty. I still believe in liberty. But now these days, you know, they say, do not join the Republican Party if you believe in liberty.
Do not come.
But here's what I say.
Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Yes. I bring liberty to the Republican Party. Oh, no. We're going to talk to her about that. We'll also talk about the big news that the Boy Scouts no longer, they will now be just the Scouts. Why? Because they're gay. We'll talk about that at 8 o'clock with Camelia, and also ask the question to our male audience members, and I will talk to Camelia about this one. Would you take a bullet for a woman, your girlfriend, your wife, your lover? Would you take a bullet? Well, women, when they were all asked the question about whether or not they would date a man if he wouldn't take a bullet for them, they all universally said no.
No, God! No, God, please,
No,
no!
they only
No!
want men who will take
No!
bullets for them.
No!
And it's funny because Stephanie and I were kind of having a similar conversation about this recently, where we were talking about men's responsibilities and women's responsibilities. What does it mean to be a trad wife, et cetera, et cetera. And I talked about the fact that if there is ever a violent attack on the house, whose responsibility is it to go downstairs and get stabbed and shot in the face and raped and molested and burned to a crisp in order to protect our family? It's my job and my responsibility. What do we get in return for that? Well, you know what most women say that men get in return for that? A big fat nothing.
How dare you?
How dare you even ask? No, boo. For that, you get a big fat nothing. Nothing. Mommy says it's too early for that, AP. Or too early for what, Mommy? Let us know. Levin214, thank you for the $10 donation. He says, Trump dynasty, boo. Okay. I kind of like Barron Trump, but we'll find out what he's like. We have to pass the Barron Trump to find out what's in it. You know what I'm saying? Will Run Riot says that I can finally enjoy some Franklin's with the show this morning. That's what I'm drinking today. I'm drinking some electric elixir, Benjamin Franklin's own roast. Absolutely delicious. Delicious. You can only get Franklin's Electric Elixir at apforlibertyshop.com. This week's theme for the bonus content, of course, is video games with libertarian themes or anti-libertarian themes, like yesterday's game that we took a look at, BioShock, which is a dystopian Ayn Rand-esque thriller first-person shooter game. An excellent game, great game, but very obvious that they hate libertarians, which is obviously very ironic considering it's a video game company devoted to capitalism and making money, hating on capitalism, making money. That's how commies always are. So if you want to unlock today's bonus content, find out which video game I'm featuring today with libertarian themes or anti-libertarian themes, then make sure that you get those Rumble Rant donations in like Levin214, or of course you can go to apforlibertyshop.com. Have you noticed I have a strange habit of rhyming my words? I do it naturally. I don't do it on purpose. That would be annoying. I watch a YouTuber sometimes who talks about like technical equipment that I use for the podcast, and he like rhymes deliberately, and then he kind of like looks at the camera like, oh, I'm so clever. See, I'm rhyming, and I'm just kind of like, shut up. I just do it naturally, which is much better, right? Where's mommy? AP, can you deliver to Russia? Or am I going to have stuff delivered to my house here and have my son send it? Boy, I don't know. I haven't had anybody from Russia who wanted to buy Franklin's Electric Elixir. So only way to find out is to try, I guess. No idea. We're going to talk to Daniela Pensack today. It is Thirsty Thursday after. What are you booing for? Give Daniela a round of applause. She's excited to join us. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s brain got eaten by a worm. What? What are you talking about, AP? No, I'm serious. Did you see the news yesterday? It was reported that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that he had a hole in his brain that was eaten by a worm. Has anybody checked on Joe Biden to see what's going on with President Biden? I love that they focused on this one. They get on the hole in Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s brain, but nobody looked into Joe Biden's. Come on. Hey, what's up, Hammer Lagger? Nice to see you, brother. Haven't seen you for a few days. Appreciate you joining us here live. So we're going to talk to Daniela Pensack about the mysterious brain worm. And did you see that tweet from Representative Mike Collins? It was so tasteless. So tasteless. What was it he said? Oh, GOP rep Mike Collins tweeted, you either die a Kennedy with a hole in the brain or live long enough to become a Kennedy with a hole in the brain. What?
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
You either die a Kennedy with a hole in the brain or live long enough to become a Kennedy with a hole in the brain. Totally tasteless. How dare you? Oh. Thank God Elon took over X, because there's no way that a tweet like that would have lasted 24 hours if we didn't have a free speech platform like that one. So very good. Appreciate you guys joining us here. Mommy said Biden had no brain to be eaten by worms. Mommy, I'm so glad that you've joined us. Started to become a regular part of the crew. We've got such an awesome crew of people in the morning. If you haven't joined us in the Rumble live chat yet, you definitely need to. Don't forget, while you're there, click that like button and follow. We'd be glad to have you join us on the regs Mondays through Fridays. The Rumble chat crew is fun. They're raucous. They're interesting, and they're real people. They're not bots, and we're glad to have a crew made up of awesome people like Camellia and Hammer Lagger and Mommy and Quest Vanning and Barney Styles and all of our awesome friends like Glowcos and Richard Bell. You're a lovely man. It's nice to see you. I love you. Okay, so what else do we have on tap for today? Before we get to the big Barron Trump story, do you guys notice how many ding-dang fees you start paying whenever you're buying something like a hotel or a concert ticket, or even sometimes like you go out to eat for dinner? Well, you're not the only person noticing this. These surprise fees have been sneaking on to the bottom of bills for everything that we buy, right? Concert tickets, dinner out, right? So more companies are starting to unbundle the cost of their goods and services. They'll tack now that 3% credit card charge or add a little extra for gas, right? So, this has been a big conversation in the concerts, the concert community, which we haven't gone to a lot of concerts lately just because the price of concerts has just gotten out of control. But, if you're buying concert tickets today, then you're going to start noticing all of these extra fees that they list on there rather than just giving you the price up front. Now, business owners are saying the fees are needed to cover costs and to show the customer where their money is going. But retail analysts have been mulling this over. And in this Wall Street Journal piece that I'm sharing with you today, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says that secondary fees diminish people's ability to shop around. I don't know if that's true or not, but they say it is. They also say that that fees cause people to pay more overall because businesses can charge more than the market will let them get away with in the sticker price. People don't shop based on fees, they shop based on the price of the product, according to the CFPB. So widespread has this tactic been that President Biden is actually making a fee crackdown one of the priorities of his administration. He estimates that Americans pay about $90 billion in what they're calling junk fees each year, including for credit cards, food delivery, bank overdrafts, and event tickets. So Congress introduced a bill last April to limit and eliminate like excessive hidden and unnecessary fees imposed on consumers. Excuse me. I'm not sure how I feel about legislation like that, but I think the market that should sort things like this out. Let the consumer outrage demand companies just put all your fees together into what the actual price of it would be. That's what I say, right? But now whenever I shop, I start to look for companies that just give me the actual price. So, for example, when I went to Springfield last weekend for the GOP convention, and I was on Expedia, you would see the price of the hotel room for the night, and then there's the hotel tax, the local tax, the sales tax, etc. So that by the time you actually get through the process, and this is what a lot of these companies are banking on, is that you invest so much time and energy into getting ready to purchase whatever product or service it is that you're trying to purchase, that by the time you get to the end of the line and you actually see what the actual price is, you're too exhausted to shop around. So, what do you think about this one? Have you noticed this as well? Have you changed your buying habits based on all of these junk fees that you see that you'll pay in many of your transactions? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send me a text at 573-319-1586. Mongoose87 over there in the chat says, I work for a bank. The CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, is not to be trusted. I agree. Blue Trike says, speaking of junk fees, what if we got rid of taxes? Oh, you. Ask your average brain dead Democrat on the street what that would mean, and they would say,
but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Yes. Quest Fanning says, for years, airlines have been asking to be able to advertise on their pre-tax price. Very good. Guelkos says, shame on you, Austin. Never, ever call brain dead in chief president again. Sorry, geez. I call him President Poopy Pants, says Mommy.
How dare you?
Kayla Vanderfeld says, Expedia is an effing joke. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts about why that is, Caleb's. You can also send us a text at 573-319-1586. One listener has already texted in this morning talking about taking a bullet for their woman. They said, I'd take a bullet to the knee. Yes. Okay. To the knee, yes. So it depends. Are you married to the woman? Are you dating the woman? Is she your long-term girlfriend, right? Do you have a child with this woman, right? Is the woman your wife or your daughter, right? So where are we taking the bullet is a good question, I think. How good does she cook? I mean, is she like making home-cooked meals? Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between a woman who like makes you spaghetti sauce with the tomatoes, right, and like lovingly simmers it up, right, and puts in the sausage and then you get the mozzarella on top, and like goes and gets an actual block of Parmesan and grates the Parmesan lovingly over your skitty. And a woman who just kind of like takes it out of the can and throws it on top, right? And, puts ketchup on the noodles and stuff and hands it over to you, right? Or just gives you the Chef Boyardee can of Chef Boyardee. So if she does Chef Boyardee, then bullet to the pinky toe. But if she makes her own pasta sauce, that is a woman that you would take a bullet in, like, I don't know, maybe a butt cheek, right? A woman in the butt cheek. Is that what we're going with? So it depends on how good she cooks. Caleb Vanderfeld says on Expedia, research where you want to stay, find the hotel you like, and call them directly. Will save you an arm, a leg, and a nut versus Expedia or other travel booking sites. Yes, I did try and do that, but I will say, Caleb, that if you combine some of these apps with points cards, then you can actually end up saving a whole lot of money. So what we do is we use points cards for every like kind of financial transaction that we're going to have. So we have this kind of like complicated way we handle our finances now, where we use like a different points card for everything. Amazon, right? Amex, gold card, right? Silver, platinum card. And that way, like we maximize all of our benefits. And so if you use an Amex gold card in conjunction with Expedia, I think I saved like $30, $30 to $40 on my hotel room stay. So there are ways to manipulate those apps to make them max out what you want. One listener texted in again, says, I went to a local gun store last week to look at a gun. And if you used a card, it's a 3% fee. Yeah, no, I've noticed that too. But I just pay cash for the gun because I'm afraid my bank and credit card will send the ATF on me. It's true. My wife can cook, but I'm actually a chef, so we'll run right. Yes, I'm actually a better cook than my lovely Steffi as well. I wish maybe she'll take a bullet for me. Wes Fanning says he's not taking anything in the butt.
Oh, God!
Oh, okay.
No, God, please, no! 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 No!
All right. Yes. No. Always better to buy your guns with cash if you can, but if you absolutely need it, then yeah, sometimes maybe that 3% fee might be worth it. It's just that the problem is the ETF tracks you on that stuff, so something to keep an eye on. Anyway, so junk fees. Moving on. Moving on. Oh my God, I have a million billion pictures, memes, videos, and news clips to share with you. But before I get to the million billion, oh no, hold on. There we go. Give me one sec. Yeah, I've got so many dang clips here to show you guys. We might as well go ahead and get it started. What do you guys say? You ready to see? You ready to see some memes? Here we go. This stuff's gonna be a little bit random before we get over to the Barron Trump topic here in just a few minutes. Here in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk about Barron Trump. Don't forget, guys, get those Rumble rants in so we can start the process to unlock today's bonus content. Here's New York Governor Kathy Hochul saying that Black people don't know what computers are.
The Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges. Young Black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them.
I love the black guy down there walking around, dancing around like he is a monkey. Note, this is not a white person at the University of Mississippi who is making monkey noises. This is a black person who, as a meme and a joke, is portraying themselves as a monkey who doesn't know what a computer is. I think it's funny. But it's also racist.
How dare you?
And when I say it's racist, I mean New York Governor Kathy Hochul. See, this is what the left actually thinks about minorities, right? They're always pointing the finger at Republicans and conservatives and libertarians for being what racist they are, those racist Republicans. But this is what we have been saying for a long time, is that the left, it's the soft bigotry of low expectations. Right? This is why they believe they need diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because as this gentleman down here on the bottom is demonstrating, this is what New York Governor Kathy Hochul thinks of black people from the
Because
Bronx.
when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges. Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them.
Mighty Megatron says, I love how the media CNN doesn't cover this, but if it had been the orange one, geez, they would have had a field day. I know! This would have been played for weeks if Trump had said, black people in the Bronx don't know what a computer is. I just love the guy down the bottom who's like,
when you have...
This is like, it reminds me a little bit of the opening scene of, what is it? Thus Spake Zarathustra. Why can I remember that and not the name of the movie? Mystery Science Theater 3000. What's the movie called? Da 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 dun 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 dun. Go, somebody please in the chat help me. What is the name of that GD movie? They parodied it at the beginning of the Barbie movie. Da 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 da. Dun, 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 dun. Space Odyssey? 2001 A Space Odyssey. Oh, thank you. What did I say it was? Mystery Science Theater 3000? You idiot, Austin. Make more founding flavors. Okay, you guys ready to move on? Okay, I just had to show that to you because I thought that was damn entertaining and funny as hell. So if you guys enjoy the clips, make sure you're clicking that like button over there on the feed and getting them Rumble rants in. All right, MSNBC panel can't wrap their head around this new poll.
Interesting in this polling was more independents said that they worry about President Biden weakening democracy than Trump, 53% to 42%. What do you make of this?
I find it shocking, honestly. I can't, make sense of that number. I wish I could. I wish I had some really great insight to it. But I don't know if it's an outlier or not, because the other numbers with independents and Biden are going in the right direction. So that
the right direction, they're going in the right direction. What's the right direction, honey? The left?
But also, just one thing I wanted to add on to what Basil said. This trial's not on TV. You guys do a great job reporting what's happening. But if there aren't those images coming out of the courthouse, people feel like they know this story. We've heard about it for a long time. So it doesn't surprise me that they're not interested.
Well, thank you both so much for being here, Basil.
Well, thank you both for feeling so awkward here on MSNBC. So what was this poll again? Okay, so the poll was here.
More independents said that they worry about President Biden weakening democracy than...
Okay, more independents. This is from MSNBC. More independents feel like Joe Biden would weaken democracy than Donald Trump. God, the MSNBC, man, they are obsessed with democracy, man. It is democracy, democracy, democracy. Let me just tell you, as someone who was a duly elected delegate to the Republican convention, state convention last weekend, democracy, it ain't so great. We are not a democracy, as I like to say. Joe Biden, 53%, Donald Trump, 42%. Joe Biden would weaken democracy the most. They're freaking out, man. Think on, double, retard. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., fresh off of his brainworm news, sat down for an interview on MSNBC as well. And they just can't stand that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is running for president and sometimes says nice things about Trump, but then most of the time is criticizing both of them. Watch this cringe interview with Ari Melber, or listen to it if you're listening to this audio version of the show later. This cringe interview that he did with Ari Melber and how they're pushing him to try, you gotta say mean stuff about Trump.
Unequivocally condemn that, or do you leave this all out here because of whatever your reasons, whether you think that's part of the voting bloc or something else?
Look, January 6th was a terrible time in our history, a terrible day. People committed terrible crimes. They committed violence against police officers. They broke into the Capitol. They stormed the Capitol. They committed other crimes, and a lot of people are in jail, and they should be. So I condemn that, but I'm not going to I'm not going to campaign based upon drumming up or amplifying people's hatred towards each other. I think we need to start figuring out a way to find common ground.
Sure, but you condemn that, and Donald Trump would be he would be wrong to then pardon it. If you condemn it, he'd be wrong to pardon it, right?
Sure, but what you do and what you do when you're sitting in this chair every night is your job is to inflame that, and my job is to.
Bro, he's calling them out to their faces. This is why some people like independents and even some libertarians kind of like RFK a little bit, right? Not me, but I know he's for gun control. I see you in the chat, right? But you know, it's fun to watch him cook, right? Let him
de-escalate.
I don't feel inflamed at all.
You don't feel, I know, but that's what you're doing. I don't disagree with the things you're saying. I'm just not going to participate in it. That's all. I'm not disagreeing with you.
But there is a theme here of what many people see as a false equivalence. And we could go through all that.
But I didn't say that there's a moral equivalence. All I said is both of them did things that were wrong for our country.
Okay, so to go back to the question.
And both of them attacked the Constitution.
But to button up the question, because you condemn January 6th, then Donald Trump, who you're running against, you would disagree with his talk of pardoning the convicted seditionists and people who trespassed.
I would, in terms of pardoning people.
It's not just insurrection anymore. Now they're seditionists.
I'm going to use the pardon power. I don't know who I'm going to use. I'm an attorney. I'm going to look at every case that's brought before me and make a decision on it. I'm not going to.
But as a general, I'm not trying.
I'm not. Yeah, you're trying to say in advance who I'm going to pardon, whom I'm not going to pardon. I'm not issuing a general pardon to any category of people.
So when you look at his talk, which is doing that, he talks about taking the convicts from January 6th.
You're trying to get me to condemn him again.
I'm asking you about your views. You're running for president. It's a big job, and I'm asking you: would you be open to those kind of pardons or not?
Here's my views. We have the worst inflation of a generation. We're embroiled in a war that we should have never got involved with in Ukraine. Just both, President Trump said he was going to end that war.
Right, but the question is about those pardons. Would you be open to that or not?
What do you mean? I'm not going to listen. I'm an attorney.
Yeah.
I was a prosecutor. You were, I think, a legal aid attorney. I was a prosecutor. I would never say in advance.
Hooked him. I'm an attorney. You were a legal aid. Oh, God. Well, can I hear that one more time?
Listen, I'm an attorney.
Yeah.
I was a prosecutor. You were, I think, a legal aid attorney. I was a prosecutor. I would never say in advance of running for political office who I'm going to pardon and who.
But that's what he's doing, and you're running against him. And I'm asking you as a journalist where you stand on
their
that.
Case. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, this is good stuff. RFK, he's going to be at the Libertarian Convention. He's challenged Donald Trump to debate in front of the Libertarians who are supposed to be nominating their own presidential candidate that weekend.
Seriously, just like they did January 6th. The guy is not a Democrat with a small d. Seriously, just like.
Is that a joke, Joe Biden? Were you trying to be funny? I don't think we got the joke.
January 6th. The guy is not a Democrat with a small d.
What are you trying to say there, Joe? Are you insinuating something?
It's also true right now, Mr. President, that voters by a wide margin trust Trump more on the economy. They say that in polls. And part of the reason for that may be the numbers. And you're aware of many of these, of course. The cost of buying a home in the United States is double what it was when you look at your monthly costs from before the pandemic. Real income, when you account for inflation, is actually down since you took office. Economic growth last week, far short of expectations. Nice. Consumer confidence, maybe no surprise, is near a 2-year low. With less than 6 months to go to Election Day, are you worried that you're running out of time to turn that around?
We've already turned it around. Look at the Michigan survey. For 65% of American people think they're in good shape economically. They think the nation's not in good shape, but they're personally in good shape. The polling data has been wrong all along.
It's also true, right?
Yes, I'm sure that they don't like hearing things like that, say that to the president's face. Thanks so much for tuning into the Wake Up America show. If it's your first time joining the Wake Up America show, we'd love to have you join us regularly. Make sure that you click the follow button before you leave today. Follow the channel, subscribe. we'd be glad to have you become a regular guest. Typically, the audience loves to hang out over on Rumble, but we do stream live as well over at x.com. And we even have a few people joining us live on YouTube. We made some friends over there yesterday, and I hope that a few of them are into the Wake Up America still there. Let me see if I can monitor that chat. Dash over there, Nathan Madden. Steffi said hello over there as well. Ron says hello. He's going in the right direction. Nice to see 46DOHC. So he says that he got unfollowed by Thomas Massey on X, so he's off to a rough start.
No,
Yikes.
God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
Ash says that Brain Dead was a great series where the bugs took over politicians' brains. Yeah, I guess people aren't thinking about the implications of having a brain bug in the president of the United States. Oh, this was just an interesting little note that I found this morning about the tax burden in states by state in 2024. Take a look and see where your state is. Tax burden by state in 2024. You can see that the lighter the color, the lighter the tax burden. And then over here to the right, the highest tax burden, it goes from 4.9% of income to 12%. This is percent of personal income paid towards state and local taxes. So not your federal, but state and local taxes. Good morning to Captain Tight Pants joining us for the first time today, sir. Nice to see you. Glad to have you here. Which state are you in? Answer below. We're looking at the tax burden by state in 2024. We're going to get to the Barron Trump topic here in just a couple of minutes. I know I'm running a little late, but there's been a lot of fun and funny clips that we've been playing. We've got a billion Barron Trump memes to go through, and we still have time before Camelia Peterson joins us live at 8 a.m. Here we are in Missouri. So the Wake Up America show streams live from Jefferson City, Missouri, where you can see we actually don't have one of the lowest tax burdens in the country, which is sad. It's honestly kind of infuriating considering we are a Republican supermajority state. You would think that that would mean that you would get more things done for conservative or libertarian values, but that's actually not what that means at all. It just means that Democrats run as Republicans and you get Democrat policies with a Republican red tie. So Missouri is 7.8%. At least it's not as bad as Kansas, where you can see in Kansas, their highest tax burden there goes to 9.3%. And then Arkansas below us actually has a little bit higher taxes, except for Tennessee. Pretty much everybody has higher taxes than Missouri, except for Oklahoma there as well. See, we've got how many states bordering Missouri? 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 states. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 states bordering Missouri. Arkansas, 8.8%. Texas has just a little lower, but not that much lower. I think I remember Cliff Maloney was talking to us about that because he was talking about moving to Texas versus Missouri, and he was complaining about the tax rate in Missouri. And honestly, you weren't getting that much of a benefit being in Texas, Missouri. And Texas is likely going to be turning into a blue state in the near future. So something to think about. Louisiana, 8.3% down there. Alabama, 7.5%. Mississippi, 8.8%. Florida, good for them with their 6% tax rate. Let's see what we've got here. Illinois, 9.7. It's so sad. If it weren't for Chicago, Illinois would probably be right down there in a normal tax rate with Missouri. I don't know how you guys feel about Chicago. I feel like Chicago used to be such a great city. Chicago used to be the kind of place when I was a kid, I think we took a vacation to Chicago and it was considered a place that you would go and have fun with your family. Nowadays, I think people think, oh, that's a place to go get murdered. And it's just not the Chicago that it was. Maybe the 1980s was the last decade for Chicago. Has anyone ever said, be honest, has anyone ever said that, hey, let's go to Chicago? You guys want to go to Chicago? I mean, when I was a little boy in a talent show, I remember singing Frank Sinatra, Chicago, Chicago. that toddling town. So it used to be a boom town and a bustle town, and everybody used to love to go there for the museums and the art and the culture. Now it's just kind of known for murder. That's sad. What's happy, though, is that 324 people are joining us live at rumble.com. What's up, peeps? Talking a little bit about the tax burden by state. Sarah Sanchez joining us over on YouTube. We do have a few people joining us on YouTube from time to time, as well as a few people joining us live on x.com. If you're joining us live on x.com, we'd love to hear from you this morning. You can send us a text at 573-319-1586. One listener texted in, said South Dakota is lower than North Dakota. That's a win for me. Oh, lucky South Dakota. You also get the dog-killing governor. Chicago has been crooked for a century or more, says Gwilkus. I don't know why anyone was surprised. Yeah, but it was crooked, but wasn't it like nice at one point? It used to be sometimes like mafia gangsters. They did, like the Italian mafia, they didn't want their cities to turn into war zones. It would happen from time to time. But when the mafia ran things versus the government, now we have the government mafia running things. The mafia actually has an interest in ensuring that like trade is actually going on. The government doesn't care about you making money. The difference between the mafia and the government is that the mafia actually wants your business to succeed so that you can pay protection money. The government doesn't give a shit if your business succeeds. They're happy to see your business get destroyed because they know that, because they're democratically elected, they may be out in the next election. So the negative consequences of what happens in their communities 4 or 5, 10 years from now doesn't matter. The Italian mob, the Cosa Nostra, they want to make sure that there is a perpetuity of business and commerce, so that when you pay your protection money to them, you're going to be, in the red. I mean, you want to be in the black. They want you to make money. So in terms of a mafia versus a government, from a capitalist perspective, from a financial perspective, from a peace perspective, there's always going to be a war. There's always going to be somebody's going to off somebody for whatever reason, right? The government just kind of does it, in an official capacity. The Italian mafia does it in an unofficial capacity. Somebody's going to get killed somewhere, somehow down along the line, blood feuds, whatever. But at least with the mafia, like there's not the incentive to keep the war going. The government keeps the war going because the perpetual war is good for the government. Perpetual war is bad for the mafia. Perpetual war is not what the mafia wants. They want to have the killing done, get it over with so that they can restore normal business operations. So ask yourself, which would you rather have, a mafia or a government? I think I know the answer. That's right. Wars aren't good for business. That's correct. Shadow Collector, first time joining us here today. Welcome, sir. Says Chicago deep dish is less of a pizza and more of a bready casserole. I still eat it anyway. Look at California, 10.4%. Still not the highest tax burden. For that, we have New York, the highest. This is a state tax burden by state in 2024. And you can see there, Maine has 10.7. Man, that sucks, Maine, because there's a lot of good rural conservatives and libertarians in Maine. New Hampshire, good for you, 5.6%. They're really doing it right up there. Better than Missouri. Florida doing very well. Alaska 4.9%. Well done, Alaskans. Looks like they're the ones with the lowest state income paid towards state and local taxes. They even pay you to live there. I think I heard they have like an oil subsidy, which is kind of neat. Hawaii 11.8%. They've got one of the higher ones in terms of the tax burden by state in 2024. Where does your state rank? I'd be curious to hear it. Thank you very much for tuning into the show. We've got 539 people watching the show. The numbers continue to climb. We're going to be talking about Barron Trump here in just a minute. 20 minutes from now, we're going to speak to Camelia Peterson. She's going to talk to us about the question of whether or not men should take a bullet for their woman. She'll answer that. We'll also talk about the Boy Scouts not being the Boy Scouts anymore. They're just Scouts. Why? Because they're gay. Fairly obvious. Would you put your boy in the Scouts? Difficult question. We'll talk about that with Camelia, as well as the ongoing battle between leftist lobbyists and myself, the war of words online between myself and progressives masquerading as grassroots conservatives here in Missouri to stop school choice. You can weigh in on any of these issues at that text line that you see at the bottom of the screen. 573-319-1586 is the text line. That's 573-319-1586. All right, we're going to get to Barron Trump in the next moment, but real quick, since we have a nice audience size, I want to remind you all that the Wake Up America show is sponsored by our friends at Preserve Gold. And I know that you're rolling your eyes and thinking, oh, I want to look away. I don't want to listen to Austin talk about advertising. But let me tell you about a man and his dream. My wife, Stephanie, she is in her third trimester of pregnancy. We're about to have our first child. And I think about the future a lot. And my wife, Stephanie, and I, we talk about our finances. We have our financial challenges like a lot of people. But one of the things that Stephanie and I always have mutual agreement on is about the concept of politics and about precious metals. Stephanie, when we got married, had a conversation about the gold and silver that is a financial cornerstone for our family. Our hope is that we never have to spend it. We hope that the gold and silver that we bought that is a part of our portfolio will remain a part of our financial cornerstone forever. Now, there may come a day when we might want to cash it in. And if so, the amount that it will have accrued over the price that was paid for it will be a handsome fee. But the nice thing about gold and silver is that we know that we always have that financial cornerstone ready in case of an emergency. Now, gold is the kind of thing that you can absolutely speculate on and make a profit if you buy it at the right time. I don't engage in that kind of speculation, but I know people who do. But for people who are thinking about their families and their future and who are interested in the gold market, my friends at Preserve Gold are excellent at educating you about how to secure your financial future. You can buy precious metals directly from Preserve Gold, or you can buy precious metals and have them put in your IRA, which a lot of people are confused because some companies will sell like gold certificates, et cetera, which is kind of like receipts for physical gold. But that's not the best way to invest in gold. From my experience, the best way is to get the actual precious metal, have it held in your IRA. And that way you can actually take possession of it any time if you want to. Of course, you'd have to pay the IRS fees, unfortunately, because it's the government. But I will say that if you're interested in learning more and just wanting to dip your toes in, there are not a lot of high pressure sales tactics from Preserve Gold. So text the word Liberty today to 50505, and they're going to send you a free information packet so that you can get educated about how you invest in precious metals in your Roth IRA, or if you'd like to purchase from them directly. And they'll be completely upfront about the fee structure, how things work, and they'll also give you a $500 account credit to start. So text the word Liberty to 50505. That's Liberty to 50505. CC23, she sent us a text and said, AP, if there's a way for you to see the analytics of your shows in the medium time that most people are in, that's when your advertising should be said. Reach more people. Yes, true. That's why I chose right now, CC. Help your family to grow, help our family to grow, help the Wake Up America show to grow. Invest in gold today. Every purchase that you make from Preserve Gold helps us to grow this network, to grow more content like this, and to build out more shows. You don't want to look at AP for Liberty's face for the next 15, 20 years, do you? Eventually, I'll have to go behind the scenes once I get a little too old and crotchety and gross and weird. Then I'll have to hire some new young faces to come in and take over for me, right? What do you mean? No, don't worry. I'll still be here for plenty of days in the future. All righty, here we go. There are a few things that can cause the price of gold to drop heavily, says Shadow Collector. It really only gets more valuable so long as there isn't an Armageddon. True. And one of the things that I like to speculate on is that if the price of gold were to drop, it would be because an asteroid filled with gold would hit the world. So, and that would also be very bad. So you never know. Yeah. All right. Shall we talk about Barron Trump? I know that's what you guys came here for, right? Oh God, somebody texted me, said their tax rate in Ontario, Canada is 20% to 53.5%.
No,
Jesus.
God! No, God, please, no! No!
Another listener sent us a text with a picture of Barron Trump that says, "You're afraid of the wrong Trump." Yes. Very true. Very true. Barron Trump to enter the political arena as a Florida delegate to the GOP National Convention. Barron Trump hasn't graduated high school yet, but he's already headed into the political big leagues. The Republican Party of Florida on Wednesday picked the 18-year-old youngest son of former President Donald Trump as one of the state's at-large delegates to the Republican National Convention. Congratulations, Barron. It's not easy to get those spots. People were fighting like mad to try and get those national convention spots at our Missouri delegation last weekend. I didn't even try because that's when my wife is due to have her baby anyway, so no point. But I will say that Barron Trump getting that spot probably helps that he's the president's son a little bit, don't you think? But the state party also selected other Trump children as delegates, including Eric Trump as its delegation chair, meaning he'll be the one who's going to place his father's name in for the nomination, as well as Donald Trump Jr., Tiffany Bulis, formerly Trump and her husband, Michael Bulis, as other at-large delegates. So Tiffany Bulis, formerly Tiffany Trump, and her husband, Michael Lewis. So like basically the Florida delegation at the RNC is going to be a Trump delegation. So Donald Trump recently lamented he wouldn't be able to see Barron Trump graduate high school because of his Manhattan trial involving the hush money payments, but the judge actually relented to allow him to attend next week's ceremony at Oxbridge Academy in suburban West Palm Beach. So Barron Trump still hasn't announced his plans, what they are after graduation, but they're probably going to be something like working in the White House. Now, there is a cult online that loves Barron Trump, and there are people who are in love with Barron Trump. And you think that I'm joking, I have got about a dozen different memes and videos here to show you. The left has pounced on Barron Trump because they're saying it's open season on him now that he steps into the political arena. Check out these kind of mashup clips that people are making. See here, nice little super mashup of, oh, look how cute he was. He's got like a smoking hot mom. That helps. And, you know, his dad was attractive. A lot of women found Donald Trump attractive. The money helped, but look how tall that kid is. Jesus. Love the ABBA. The rise of Barron Trump. I love it. Barron will be the top enemy of the left next decades. You know what? If so, great. You love to see it. Barron Trump. He looks like his father very much there. Right there, you can see. Top enemy of the left the next weekend. You know what? I'm for it. This is a fan account of Barron Trump. Me, when someone mentions Barron Trump is a time traveler, and you can see here the conspiracies as they're weaving, and you can see the insignia here that you could show from hundreds of years ago. You can see the child Barron Trump right there. You can tell that this was him hundreds of years ago. Thus spake Zara Barron Trumpson. Bum, 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 bum. Oh my God, he was just adorable, says Urge Mommy. See, that is how much most people feel. Barron Trump will be God Emperor. Let's see what else. Here is Barron Trump pulling up to the Republican National Convention. You thought I was joking. You thought I was joking about, like, there is a cult for Barron Trump. There are people who want to crown him the king of the United States. Here he is pulling up the RNC. No, actually, that's Anakin Skywalker. Okay, yes, very funny, though. Highest meth dealer, a.k.a. Dixie Wizard, she posted that there are only 5,791 days until Barron Trump can run for president. As you can see, the leftists have already started to pounce on Barron Trump. Just Gus, leftist liberal, says, I have stayed away from ever mentioning Barron Trump because he was a kid and not involved in politics. Unfortunately, he has proven himself to be the douche I figured he was. Jeez, calm down. Also, is it just me, or does he look like a polecat?
How dare you?
Polecat? I don't know about that one, but that's mean. That's mean, Motari. Apparently, Barron Trump, says Pico Paco, has been comically enormous since he was a baby. You will never see the media report on this. I mean, that is a big baby. Look at those big old long legs on Barron Trump as a baby right there with Melania. She's looking very casual there. The what if, says Nasara Gaysara, Q Awakening Q. What if the role of Barron Trump is far greater than we know? MAGAs are saying that Barron Trump is the second coming of Caesar or Alexander the Great, and it's really weird. I'm not going to lie. I think that Barron Trump looks a lot like Alexander the Great. I can see the resemblance here. Yes. I'm going to tell my kids that this was Barron Trump, says Matt Flammable. Very funny. He's a huge guy right there. Tells kids that was Barron Trump. Vinny from the PBD podcast tells a Barron Trump story from their dinner at Mar-a-Lago. These guys, they love to brag about their relationship to the
There's
Trumps.
left, there's right. I think one of the hardest I laughed is when he goes, look, because all of a sudden the music just comes on loud, right, Jesse? And we're like, what the hell is that? He's like, my freaking dad's the DJ. All you see is the president on his iPad, the lights in his face.
Nothing compares. Nothing compares to you.
Like, are we really playing? And I love it because you look back and it's Donald Trump, the light on his thing, and Barron's like, guys, like I'll be in my room and the house is shaking. Like my dad plays the music loud. But going back to Barron, like what a good, like head on his shoulders, professional. Then at the end, like he was like, Vinny, whenever you guys want to come dinner, whenever you want to come, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, you met Barron Trump. Congratulations. I know that this is a mean picture of Trump, but I just think it's funny. And Rich says, Barron Trump is now a Florida delegate for the GOP, but he is still a Trump. Now he's lost his protection from the press. By the way, has he learned to speak yet? And then they've got the picture of Trump going into Chuck E. Cheese with his little birthday hat on in there. And I actually think that's very funny. Funny meme. Barron Trump looks much like his dad. Yes, he does. And for those ladies over there who were trying to debate about whether or not Trump was handsome when he was a younger man, he absolutely was. And as you can see, young Barron Trump is a good-looking young man, and he looks very much like his father. I like this picture. This is nice. I'm going to retweet that. From Freya Tarta. Listen to this and fall in love with Barron Trump.
Barron's a very interesting guy, the son of Donald Trump, 6'7", 6'8". We're doing a podcast with Ryan Garcia. He stays there and he walks. He says, let me walk you to your car. The son of a billionaire who's a president says, let me walk you to your car. He's working customer service. He walks us to our car and he's standing there until we get in the car to leave. He says, look, no matter what I do, no matter what my brothers do, no matter how much money we make, our success will never come close to what our father had to do, because he really had the hard life, not us. We have an easy life. He just turned 18. Are you kidding me? Like, what a freaking stud of a kid to say something like that, right?
Very good stuff. Joshua Gale, leftist liberal, says, I hope that Barron Trump is treated with the same respect and kindness shown to Hunter Biden. What? Barron Trump's a good kid who stays in school and doesn't smoke meth and hang out with hookers. So same respect and kindness. If he behaved that way, maybe. But yeah, as you can see from Mueller, she wrote, they say the leftists are saying that he is no longer off limits. That means that they're coming for him. We must protect him at all costs. This video, see, people always say he's very quiet. He doesn't say anything. But this video has actually captured our future God King's voice. Here's Barron Trump's voice. So now we'll know what our future emperor sounds like. See, if you weren't listening, you might have missed it. You might not catch it. Take a listen. He's scratching his butt. What the hell? I didn't notice that at first. Wait a minute. So here's Barron Trump. He says something. We can't understand what he's saying, but let me just mute it because note this guy on the right. Watch where his hand goes. I guess he thought he wasn't being recorded. Watch his finger there. Look at this. Watch his right hand here. No, left hand. Look. Didn't notice that the first time I saw that. Yes. So Barron Trump and a guy who scratches his butt. So we heard his little voice there. Another leftist says Barron Trump is fair game. I repeat, fair game. Don't care. You came for Chelsea at 13. You went after the Obama girls as children and are still attacking them. This anchor baby deserves nothing less. He's a lab experiment gone wrong. Lady, calm down. Put the knife down. And I like this meme here. The Holy American Empire under Barron Trump. Very funny. You see, they've broken up Missouri in this one here. The Texas Confederation, Kansas takes over part of Missouri. God, no.
God! No! God, please, no! No!
Not on my watch. Not on my watch. All right. So keep up those donation, guys. We've got to raise $60 by the end of the show if you want to unlock today's bonus content. Coming up next, would you take a bullet for your woman? This woman, that woman, which woman, any woman? And well, then what do we get in return, man? We want to be it's our drizzle, soft boy era. We got to get something back, right? We'll be right back. The Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Expanse of time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor of your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit PetersonVoiceStudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. We're glad and thankful to have you here. We must be on Rumble's nice list today. Over 1,100 people joining us live means they probably put us on the front page. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, all the lovely people over at Rumble. Hit that like button. And if it is your first time watching the Wake Up America show and you say to yourself, you know what? Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. I can watch this again. Make sure you click that follow button on the feed as well so you can come back and join us. The show schedule is Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start the day. Find out what's happening in the world of news and politics, have a little fun, a little bit of funny, stay informed, and, you know, hang out with a really cool crew over at rumble.com. So thank you to everybody who's joining us live right now. We're glad to have you. Drop a comment, introduce yourself, and make some friends. All right. Well, one of our Freedom friends who joins us every Tuesday and Thursday on the Wake Up America show is Camelia Peterson. She's joining us live right now. CJ, how are you doing today?
Good morning. Doing well. Thank you.
There's so much to discuss, Camelia. We've got topics galore. It's Thirsty Thursday. It's the day we bring on the beautiful ladies like yourself and Daniela Pensack. Join us in about 30 minutes. Maybe I'll ask her this same question or pose this hypothetical to you. We've got kind of 3 big topics to discuss. So let's see if we can get through them all, okay? Are you ready?
I am ready.
Here we go. The first topic, the Whatever podcast, which is famous for inviting, you know, sexy girls on the show and then embarrassing them, posted a tweet. And they posted this tweet. They said they've recently been asking women if men they are dating should take a bullet for them. Men they are dating. And if they would date a man who would not. Most say, yes, men should take a bullet. And they would not date a man who was unwilling to sacrifice his life to save hers. Nobody bats an eye at this gender expectation. The ultimate gender expectation, die for me, right? Throw your body on the fire. But if men say women should cook or women should take care of the household, you're immediately labeled a sexist misogynist. Men are viewed as the disposable sex, always have been, right? It's kind of insane that there's so much intention on the benign gender expectations placed on women, cooking, cleaning, household chores, and nothing on the massive burden placed on men. Many women want us men to literally die for them, but then they scoff at the idea of cooking us a meal or being submissive. Is this clown world, Camelia? What's your take?
It is. It's more of the double standard, right? Brought to you by feminism, TM. But, you know, when you, one of the things I thought of when you were talking about this is that, you know, for the Christians, there's that verse that says, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. And so that just mean his friends, or is that women too? Or but yeah, no, it is. This is an interesting question to me because I actually, I sent this very quickly to someone who is, you know, knows a lot about the red pill movement, masculinity movement. And I wasn't quite sure what the response would be. And the answer was yes. So we obviously this morning did not get into a big discussion about it or anything, but it did get me to thinking about, you know, this thing we've debated before about what should men's approach to this double standard in a lot of different areas for men. What should their reaction or approach be? And I know what you usually say, but for me, it kind of makes me think about, and I've said this before, like, should men just, in spite of feminism and what a lot of women are doing, should they do the right thing anyway? And when I say the right thing, like, that supposes a lot, right?
So I was about to interject, but thank you for saying it. Go ahead.
I know. And like and so that in itself is debatable. But when we talk about these gender roles, so much of the time we've talked about biological imperative and the roles of men and women from an evolutionary point of view. And so on one hand, you know, you're making the argument a lot of times that these are just kind of biologically ingrained roles that we are now turning upside down in our culture. And so the question, the thing is if those are what we should be doing, then is the correct response for men to say, no, we're not going to do that as a reaction to what women are doing wrong. Does that make sense?
You've laid it out perfectly. So what should men do?
I think, well, that's a tough question, right? And so, because I think it's not easy. And I think in our culture, in our society, there are some very real harms that can come about of men just continuing to do the right thing, right? So I think that,
we showed that video recently of that man who stood by while a girl got mugged on the street in front of him. He didn't step in to protect her. And I played the video and I said that was a wise decision made by him. He doesn't know that woman. He doesn't know that situation. And immediately every woman beset me and said, "Oh, terrible, awful, evil, hateful. You hate women because you won't die for them. If you don't die for a random woman on the street, you must hate women." But then once I introduced into them the possibility that, hey, there might be a woman at home, a pregnant woman at home, or there might be a woman at home who needs her husband or boyfriend or whatever to come home so that he can take care of the woman in his own life. And about a third of the women who were angry at me at first said, "Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess I would want my husband to come home. I don't want him dying for some bitch I don't know, right? I don't care about them. I care about me, right?" But of course, it's all about me, me, me. It always has to be, everything, of course, has to be filtered through the lens of what's best for you. It's never about what's best for us. It's even the only situation where women change their minds was once you made it in their own best interests. I mean, and that's most people for the most part. It's like that Scott Fahn quote: "People aren't liberals or conservatives; they're self-interested."
Self-interested. Yes.
Very true. Very true. And yet, it does strike me as, I don't know, a bit odd that there is this full-blown set of expectations. We've visited this topic before. This full-blown set of expectations for men that date back to the 1300s, chivalry, chivalric love, as you noted in your post earlier today. But there are no expectations that can be placed on the return. I see men who have girlfriends or wives that, like, they don't do jack squat. My Steffi's lovely. She does an incredible amount of work around the house, maintaining the household. She's truly a trad wife who does it all. But I see girls who, like, they go out to the club, I mean, with their girls on Friday nights and things like that. The expectations probably need to start being pushed back. How do we re-marginalize women, I guess, is what I'm asking.
So I guess, well, I have a question for you. If women were, let's just say hypothetically, and I know it's hard to imagine, but if women were fulfilling their gender roles in society, in the ways that we have talked about, would men be obligated to take a bullet for them?
Ask that again in a different way. I'm considering it.
So if women were doing things the right way, should men take a bullet for them?
Yes. Yes. So obviously what the whole point of this is that men and women are different, right? And we need to stop trying to pretend we're the same. Okay. Yes. And this is going to be a good segue into the scouting conversation here in just a moment. But the point is that there cannot just be expectations placed entirely one way without some expectation of return. Relationships are transactional. I know that sounds terrible to people who hate, capitalism and mutual exchange for like positive goods and that both parties should benefit. But both parties should benefit from a relationship. And if I don't know you on the street and you're just some random chica, right? Like whether or not I save your life depends on a lot of different factors. If you are a woman in my life who is a part of my family, maybe you're even like a really close friend that I've known for years, then yes, you are within my circle of protection. But you should not expect that if you are in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with someone, that if you are, it's constantly take. Like the question for men is, what do you bring to the table? And then when that question is reversed to the women, they say, oh, I am the table. That's just not good enough, Camellia. It's not good enough. And I'll tell you this, like, you know me like better than like a lot of people. You know me like as a personal person, as a private person, like, you know what my life was like before marriage. And now you know what my life is like within marriage. So like you've seen like sort of like how, like, what my dating life was before I got married. And like, men need to look at women as disposable, in my opinion, until women realize how valuable men are. Because what I noticed was that when I was treating women like they were disposable, in other words, treating them with true equality, treating women the way that men are treated, treating them as disposable, that was the time when women actually realized I could tell that women were more capable of discerning, wow, men actually do bring value to the table. But when you give and you give and you give and you never have any expectation of return, it's like women are communists, okay? They're all little socialist grabbing selfish takers. And they take and they take and they take and they eat half of your food and then they don't do anything in return. And when you're stuck on the island, they can't sew, they can't cook, they can't clean, but they still eat half of your food. Did you ever see that Survivor episode where it was just men and just women and the women all started to starve to death because none of them did any goddamn work? Well, that's the reality of the world that we're living in. So when you treat women like women treat men, the scales fall from their eyes, and they realize that in today's modern world, actually, the truth is that if men take their power, if men lean into their power, then women will realize that there is nothing on this planet that they enjoy. Air conditioning, buildings, right? Heating, cooling, anything. There's nothing without men. Men truly have all of the power. If we didn't want you to have rights, you wouldn't have rights. If we didn't want you to have free speech, you wouldn't have free speech. If we didn't want you to have security, you wouldn't have security. You would have nothing without men. If we wanted to put you back into the caves and forcefully demand that you go back into your position, we could do it. You would have nothing without us. Is that true, or am I a liar?
So it's all your fault, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
No,
well,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, we've allowed you to have this position.
Sure. I mean, we are here because men, were a part of the groups that wanted us to be here. No, absolutely no doubt about that. I would say that, in the context of whether or not, the question is, would you take a bullet for a woman? And I think it was asked, like, if you're like in a relationship with that person, and the women were like, always yes, or whatever, or they wouldn't be in a relationship with someone who wouldn't. That in many ways is, women wanting men to play that protector role, right? And so you're right, relationships are transactional to a certain extent, but maybe not in the ways that some people think. But I would say that if you are in a relationship and there is not that give and take, you're not really in a relationship. And that probably speaks to, someone's judgment in choosing, who they invest their time with. And I think that it does still go back to the idea that what happens in action and practicality is sometimes different than what the rhetoric is. And so I do think it's important for the rhetoric to still be that men, that it's good for men to be in those roles. And so, when, I was told this morning that, yes, men should take a bullet for women, that just, when you're growing up and your parents are teaching you what's fair or not fair, or how to deal with people and how to behave and conduct yourself in society. And, sometimes if you didn't learn the lesson that sometimes you have to do the right thing, even if somebody else doesn't deserve it, or, it doesn't seem fair, like that's a vital lesson.
No.
It is, sometimes we have to do that.
No, we don't. Not anymore. It's time to put it all to an end. Women have to have something to offer. Okay, you can't just say you're the table anymore. Okay, because we've put up with decades of I'm strong, I'm independent, I don't need no man, and the reality is that works in reverse as well. Men go out onto an island, we're all alone together. Lord of the Flies was a novel. For the most part, we would build a civilization and a society until we all died off because there weren't enough kids. We would build huts, we would build things. You all would starve and complain that, one lady's doing too much sunbathing, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Women don't bring a lot to the table these days anymore, not even their virginity, which is probably a good idea. Women don't even bring chastity to the marriage anymore, which is a shame, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it depends on who you talk to, I suppose. But I do think
most men,
sure, for
not
sure,
80% of men,
right? I mean, like, and we won't go into the double standard that exists there as far as like men's expectations of women in that sense. But I would say that I think that we are seeing the things happen that need to happen to wake women up. Because when you talk to the vast majority of women, they want a long-term relationship.
they're not willing to do what it takes.
Right. Well, and so now they are seeing the results that they're not getting those long-term relationships. They're not getting those children when they want them, and it's too little too late. And so they are really feeling the ramifications of that. And I think they are seeing the pushback against that in men. And so I think it's a lot of these little things that are adding up. And you do see this some in the TradCon movement as a reaction against that. Now, not everything is good about the TradCon movement, but I do think that the younger generation is seeing the things that they don't like.
Yeah, they're seeing these double standards. CC23 says, AP, do you think a woman wants a man that has a high body count if she doesn't? Answer, I don't think she cares. As a matter of fact, I actually think women would prefer a man with experience with women than the opposite. Women don't want male virgins. The opposite is true. Like, you have to understand, people, men and women, not only are we not the same, but we want different things.
I don't think women even necessarily think along those lines when they're evaluating a man.
They don't care. But this is like the one time that a double standard works in men's favor, and women hate it, and I love it.
Well, I think women hate it because the implication is that there are women who are used in a sense, out there.
Disposable women. Yes, that's what we'll call just like all men are disposable, some women are also disposable, but they make themselves that way. They choose to be that way. We don't choose. Men don't choose to be disposable. We're born that way. Some women choose to make themselves disposable, and like a discarded tampon, they find themselves on the dust heap of history. Camellia, let's move on to the next topic. The Scouts. God, they've been going gay for a long time. It's no longer the Boy Scouts. If I had a boy, I wouldn't put him in the Boy Scouts. Not only would I be afraid that he was going to get molested, but I just don't want him to turn into a little gay communist. Why are the Scouts changing their names?
Well, they have been working on inclusivity for a long time now. And I think it was in 2018 that they started allowing girls in. And, before that, there was, they were allowing gay boys and gay troop leaders, scout leaders in, and then, and then we moved on to women or girls. I don't know. Can they have female scout leaders? I actually don't know the answer to that question, but anyway, that probably doesn't matter. So now they are just, just scouts. And so it's very generic now. And when I was thinking about this, and this is also, by the way, on their 115th anniversary, this is part of their celebration. And I think this is just one more step down the road they've been on for a long time, and they've been completely taken over, with leftist ideology. When I was looking at this, I was thinking, what? So we know that the Boy Scouts have done this and have included girls for a while now, but do the Girl Scouts allow boys? And so I haven't found the answer to that question for sure. But one thing I did notice when I just Googled, boys and Girl Scouts, when the Girl Scouts of the USA pops up, the little description, the primary description that pops up in the first link is, in a world of boys clubs, give her one of her own. So and I thought, well, that's highly ironic. So we have, right. So we have Boy Scouts that are no longer Boy Scouts, and now they're just Scouts, and the girls can have that. But apparently you have to still have the girls' spaces.
Yeah, we're not allowed to have boys' spaces, but we have to have girls' spaces. That's why I'm not opposed. People think I'm trolling, but I'm not opposed to, when it comes to adult sports. It's one thing when they're kids, but adult sports, if adult females want to play, they want to play this game with men in dresses, going on in the sports field and all that kind of stuff, those are men invading your spaces the same way you invaded our spaces. Now you're going to have to suffer the consequences of that. And I think that that's not a good thing, but I think it's going to be the kind of thing that it's going to get more women to go, let me me the top voting Democrat. All right. So last topic here before we go, because I've only got a few more minutes to go before Danielle Pensac comes up. We talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s worm that ate his brain, which is a fun topic. Talk to me about, boy, I've really stirred up a hornet's nest online. Your number one troll here in the state of Missouri is this. I'll say it this way. She is a woman who was a registered Democrat in the state of Colorado. She owned a company. She was the president of a company that advocated for progressive ideology. She now is a registered lobbyist in the state of Missouri, and she is fighting against conservative causes like school choice, and she is posing as a grassroots conservative. She's been attacking you. She hides behind this avatar, Mo Education Watch, and now she's attacking me for being associated with you. Gail, what's her name again? Last name? She's so
Griswold.
Griswold. Oh God, what a last name! Reminds me of like the Griswolds from Chevy Chase movies, Vacation. But now I'm in her sights. It's been fascinating to see over the last few days more and more actual conservatives coming out of the woodwork to sort of play whack-a-mole with these retards. It's been quite satisfying, hasn't it?
Well, and I think, the question was for a long time, and I think this is the question anytime you have trolls that come up and start messing with things is, at what point do you just ignore them and they'll go away and they're, whatever. But in our political culture right now, like people really eat up outrage and fear mongering. I mean, there is nothing that appeals like that. And if you tell them that the government is going to come into their home schools and take them over, I mean, like, you don't have to justify it. You can tell them that there's a big globalist agenda that's, driving all of it. And you don't even really have to make sense. And you can
have
do
to
these.
prove it. You just
No,
have
you
to
don't
use
have
the
to
right
prove it.
buzzwords.
Right. And people do eat that up. And, so the debate for a long time was like, well, how much do you push back against that? Because sometimes when you do that, it gives it credence and, legitimizes it.
Right.
So
if you
there's
attack it, it makes it seem like it really is true. Yeah.
Right. So, but there does come a time where there needs to be pushback. And we reached that here in the last few months. And so it is built up because she had really built up a following, with this nonsense. And I think the more pushback there has been, and, as more people have seen how she reacts to that and the truth of things, they're like, maybe
what's
like
been the
she's
funniest,
a little crazy.
Yeah, she is nuts. The funniest part too has been in the last like 24 hours is seeing like the people, the crazies who support her are like, our public schools are the bedrock of our rural communities. And it's like, they did not want to make that argument when they were fighting with me because of my libertarian audience, because now like libertarians who would usually be kind of like, I don't know about Austin Peterson, he's not a real libertarian, are all like, we fight with Austin Peterson now. This is the kind of fight that they want because these are big government Republicans, formerly registered as Democrats, pretending to be grassroots conservatives, but advocating for progressive causes. It's just it's a delicious fight. It's one that, I ache for, I yearn for, Camelia, and I'm ready for the fight. Are you ready for it?
Well, I'm ready. I would prefer to fight in different ways. This is not my favorite way to have to fight for liberty by a long shot. But the thing is that it does bring up the question that's interesting to me anyway, as far as like, how do you actually effect change for liberty? And, because people really like to feel like a rah outrage, like call your legislator and lambast them and, beat them over the head on social media. And does that work? And so one of the interesting things that happened is that, over the last year, she and others would continually bash, myself and others and legislators. But one of the big things they would lobby or would level at me was that I was a lobbyist. I wasn't at the time. I was for a time, and it doesn't matter. Like lobbyists just advocate for their issues, right? That's not an evil or bad thing. And the irony is that at the beginning of this year, in the beginning of the legislative session, lo and behold, she formed a PAC and registered as a lobbyist along with several other people that were in her circle. And it's almost like they decided that they had to do those things to try to be more effective in trying to effect change. Now, it still doesn't work because their approach is so hateful and ugly that they alienate the very people whose minds they're trying to change. But that's it's a good thing to think about in terms of how do you make a difference.
Well, you can kill them with kindness. I'll kill them with weapons and guns.
It takes both kinds, right? It's like Greg Keller.
Sure. Well, it's like, it's kind of like, there are things that, I have my strengths and I have my weaknesses. But if you want to get into a trolling contest online with me and you're going to fight for big government, that's a fight you're going to lose because I got backup.
I will leave that side of things to you, people like you and Greg Keller. And, like Greg's one's been tangling with her too. And he had tweeted, the other day that, well, as long as there were people like me who were out there, trying to promote peace and unity and everything like that, he would be out here going after them. He was like, because this is the land of wolves now.
That's right. And as the great leader George Washington said, the most effective means of assuring peace would be to prepare for war. CV Pacem, Parabellum. Camelia, thank you for your time today. Thanks for being such a good sport for the He-Man Power Hour, pro-masculine man conversations all the time. You're such a good
2024,
sport.
You're the man.
You're the man. Damn right. Thanks, Camelia. Have a good one.
Have a great day.
What'd you guys think of Camelia Peterson? Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Brian Esco, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? You got to get up way early in the morning to join us there. All right, here's the deal. We have raised, I think today's going to be the first day we're going to have an epic fail. We are going to fail to unlock the bonus content. We have raised, at this point, let's see, $25 towards the $60 goal to unlock the bonus content. Or that's my fault because I haven't been promoting it enough. But if you guys do want to see the bonus content today, get those Rumble rants in now. Or head over to apforlibertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4. Head over to apforlibertyshop.com. Get yourself some awesome gear from our shop, like our Javier Milei, Super Javier Milei Retro Gamer tee. We've also got delicious coffee as well at apforlibertyshop.com. A whole line of cool Liberty Kids merchandise as well. And our Norm Macdonald.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like some effing commie gobbledygook shirts, Super Trump shirts, Enjoy Liberty stickers, bath mats, and of course our awesome Historic Spirits stained glass collection exclusively at apforlibertyshop.com. And if we do hit that $60 mark, you will unlock today's bonus content, which is a mini documentary about a libertarian-themed video game. Head on over to apforlibertyshop.com and do it. All right, 2,100 people watching us live on Rumble. You know what that means? That means I'm just going to go to a very, very brief little break. Go get Daniela Pensack, bring her back, talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s worm that ate his brain on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Cantina crew, this is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter, and I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet
any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
And what is fascism? Fascism is private.
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Glad and thankful to have you here. Over 2,100 people watching us live on rumble.com. Good morning. I know that for many of you who are tuning into the show this morning, it's your first time watching the show. So let me introduce myself. I'm Austin Peterson. I am the host of the Wake Up America show. We stream this show live every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. So it's a 2-hour live Liberty Talk show in the mornings. It's a great way to start your day. We have great guests, lots of fun topics and conversations. Thursdays, we call it Thirsty Thursdays because we bring on the lovely ladies of Liberty, like my next guest, who is way earlier than us. She goes back in time 2 whole hours this morning. Daniela Pensack joining us from the past. Here she is right now. Good morning, Daniela. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well, despite it being 2 hours in the past, really early. I am bright and early for this show. I love being on this show every week.
Good. Glad to have you here, Daniela. So there is something wrong with Joe Biden, but we don't know what it is. If we were to elect Robert F. Kennedy Jr., at least we would know that the parasite eating his brain is potentially responsible for what's going on in his head. What is this weird news about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s brainworm?
Right, I know. I don't know how he's going to recover from this, Austin, for his presidential run, but we'll see. But yeah, he has a parasite in his brain. Basically, in a deposition from 10 years ago, it's been revealed that he has been suffering cognitive issues like memory loss, fogginess, things like that. They thought it was a brain tumor for a while, but a New York doctor looked at the brain scans and he said it's actually a worm. It has died in his brain and it's pretty much stuck there. And when I first came across this article yesterday, I thought it was like I couldn't believe it was real. I felt like it was an article from Weekly World News, if people remember that that weird like sci-fi tabloid magazine, or it was like an episode from Futurama. But no, it's real. He has brain worms, and on Twitter he posted, I think just recently, that he would take 6 brain worms just to beat Donald Trump. I don't know if he should have said it in that way. I don't know if that's really good for his campaign. And like I said, I'm not sure how he's going to recover from this. I don't think people are compelled to vote for a guy with brain worms, but we'll see what happens.
How do you get a worm in your brain, Daniela?
So they speculate that when he was traveling, and I read that it was in Southeast Asia. I don't know exactly what country when he was traveling, but he ate pork. And apparently you can contract these from eating meats from questionable places. It's a parasite, and it is actually a real thing. It can be quite disastrous for your body and make long-term damage. But my advice to everyone is that when you go to third world nations, do not eat the meat there, or at least be very careful. But that's what the doctor speculated that he got this brain worm from.
I'm looking at this right now. Worm-like parasites, also known as a brain-eating amoeba, can cause a fatal brain infection. While not technically a worm, this single-celled organism can infect the brain, a rare but often fatal condition. Now, another example of parasites, and this sounds like the one that might be in Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s brain, is the Tyanea solium, the pork tapeworm. Isn't this really just trichinosis? They say when humans ingest eggs from this parasite, they can develop neurocysticercosis, which occurs when the larva forms cysts in the brain, potentially causing seizures and other neurological symptoms. Has RFK reported any symptoms from the brain that ate, or the worm that ate his brain?
Well, yes, for a while, and this has been revealed in the deposition as well, that for a while he has suffered cognitive issues, at least from the information that I come across. It was kind of like vague in the explanation, but he said he suffered brain fogginess and memory loss. So, again, if you're going to be president, probably not the best thing to talk about. But I don't believe he reported any seizures, unless I'm wrong about that, unless there was like some information that did come out about this. But that's as far as I know.
Okay, well, so I think that this is the kind of thing when people hear it would probably, not only would it give them the ick, but it might make them think twice about would you vote for someone with even a dead brain worm? I think my answer would
I
to that
don't.
would probably no.
Yeah, no, my first inclination would be a no, absolutely. And judging by the president we have now, and we kind of see firsthand the effects that cognitive decline has in a president, I don't think people would be compelled to vote for a guy that has potential for that.
Hey, what did you think about the news that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was going to speak at the Libertarian Party's national convention as well as Donald Trump? What was your take on that, Daniela?
Yeah, no, that's definitely something I did not expect, Austin. Well, RFK is running as as an independent, so I guess it would make a little sense. It's it's a third party option, so I suppose it would be more appealing for I'm not to say that he is appealing for libertarians, but at least it's a third party option that would make more sense to me. As far as Trump is speaking there, that really surprised me, but it also makes a little bit sense because libertarians tend to lean more right wing. So I think offering those two options for libertarians, um, even though it's surprising and it's not what I would expect, the more I thought about it, the more I thought like it does make sense. It does give them, those options. Now, what would be impossible, obviously, is to have Joe Biden speak, because libertarians don't really lean that way at all. I don't think in the US. Maybe like rarely they do. Like I know there's some left-leaning libertarians, but it's not as common. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, Austin. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat on that one.
Do you think it was a good move on their part that they would invite someone like Trump to their convention where they're literally nominating their own presidential candidate?
Do I think it's a good move? That's a good question. I don't know if it looks good, but I do think I think that I think it's okay to offer options to people, and it does make it more interesting. I don't know what behind the scenes decisions were made to or conversations were had. I would like to be a fly on the wall to have him speak. But once again, because the Libertarian Party does lean a little bit more right, I think it's good to offer that as an option. And it makes things a little bit more interesting,
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm speaking to Daniela Pensack. She's a field coordinator for Turning Point USA. Daniela, were you listening to the conversation I was having with Camellia about men taking a bullet for their women? And
I
all that
was.
What was your take on
was.
what was your take on that topic about whether or not a man should take a bullet for a woman?
So, Austin, I think that I will start with this. I'll preempt the conversation with this. I understand men's frustration. Men don't feel as appreciated in society today. And as a man, I could relate to the pain a little bit on that in that way. But I think the conversation is hinged on the idea that it's a biological question. Because women are the people who reproduce, I think it makes more sense why perhaps, and I think it's also biological in men to want to defend women, and take a bullet for a woman. Now, if we're talking about being in a relationship with someone, if a guy said he wouldn't take a bullet with me, that's an ultimate turnoff. But likewise, if if I'm with my guy, I want to take a bullet for him. I mean, that's how a relationship works, right? You love the person enough to take a bullet for them. So I think it's only fair that way. But if we're talking about random people in the street, I think, once again, I think it's a question of physical ability, or which men typically have more than women, obviously. It's more of a question of biological reality. For a random man to like step in the way to protect me, I wouldn't expect that of random people. This is why we have law enforcement. But I think it's a question of biological reality. If men are stronger, and so it would make sense why they would want to defend the weaker in society. But likewise, if I saw, it's like if I saw a random kid or even a person far more weaker than me get attacked, I would think that as a good person, it would be right for me to step in and protect them, regardless of their sex. But usually, if a man has more bulk on him than I do, so I don't know if I would be compelled to do it if I don't have to. But I do think it's a question of biological reality, Austin. My answer is a bit long-winded
I think
there.
I agree.
But...
No, but I think I agree. But if that is an acceptance of biological reality, I mean, I know that you would say, oh, I would take a bullet for my man and stuff like that. There are a lot of women who might feel the same way as you. I think most women probably wouldn't. I think most women are probably content.
Really?
Yeah, I think most women are probably Yeah, I think most women are probably content to sit back and,
Bro.
when you talk about taking a bullet, we're talking about, when the wolf comes to the door, the bad guys at the door, I'll call the police, honey, go get him. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, I don't know that there's too many women who would sort of be there on the front lines with the M16. My wife probably would, because I've trained her in the finer arts of, martial arts and firearms.
Right.
But
Right.
most women don't use firearms regularly or carry firearms. It's just, there's biological reality for you. So there's a set of expectations that go one way. It's reasonable to expect that there should be some expectations the other way. But whenever there's any expectations the other way, it does feel as if modern society, and you talk about this in your columns. I'm reading what you're writing in your Substacks. You're talking about female supremacy, or what I like to call the gynocracy in modern society. Isn't it realistic for men to have expectations, to have some expectation of return? We shouldn't just self-sacrifice just because you're a woman and we don't know who you are. Like you said, you don't know this random person on the street. But there's some expectation that there's a reason why men are doing it, more than just saving the species, because there's billions of people on the planet. There's plenty of humans.
Oh, well, you know what they say, Austin, we're not reproducing enough. So didn't they just have the pronatalist conference in Texas or something? So people are trying.
Those things, the thing about, like, we're not reproducing enough, they're talking about specific societies. The human race is going to be fine. The human race will continue to exist.
Yeah, at least with third world nations, that's the case.
They want white American babies. That's fine.
That's right.
So do I. I'm gonna have a white baby. Well, the Jew haters on the South say white, but we're not fighting that fight. But there should be some. But what I'm talking about is a set of obligations that all seem to go one way. But then when we ask for something in return, sexist, misogynist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right?
I guess I think I know what you're saying. I think I get what you're saying. You're just wanting women to stay home and cook. Is that basically the question, or like what expectations are you talking about here?
Well, here's the thing. And listen, I did get a taste of the modern dating market before I got married a couple of years ago. So I had the dating apps, and I did that, and I saw it was a lot of I started to hate dating, and I know a lot of people feel the same way. Because especially as a man, it feels like this interview rather than like a fun thing. And there's all these hoops that you have to jump through, and all these accomplishments that you have to like rattle off in order to pass this test, right? It was no longer fun. Like, let's go do something we both enjoy and enjoy each other's time and get to know one another. It was always a series of shit tests. Like, you know what a shit test is, Danielle? Have you ever had a...
I don't know what that means.
Women don't know what it means because they don't have that. This doesn't go one way, right?
So no.
Shit tests are when a man gives a woman gives a man shit, gives him a problem, and sees how he reacts to it. Essentially, dogging him, trying to, calling his masculinity into question. Right? Like asserting that he might be gay. Essentially, what she'll do is she'll give him a shit test. And then if you don't pass, you typically go to the friend zone.
Interesting.
If you pass the shit test, there's a whole like online, etymology that explains this. If you pass the shit test, then she sees you as a potential romantic partner. So what I can tell you is that from the years that I spent in dating hell before I met my lovely trad wife, before I met Stephanie, who does cook, who does clean, and enjoys it. And I don't force her to or ask her to pretty much do anything. She does it all like without any kind of like, expectation. But what I realized is that there are all these shit tests, all these things that you as a man have to bring to the table. But then I started to get a little more cheeky as I got older, and I just didn't care what women think, or if they slept with me, or if they wanted to have a long-term relationship with me. I stopped caring what women thought about anything. And that was actually the goal, because what I realized was that women would always basically return when I would ask them, what do you bring to the table? The answer was always, I am the table. It's me. You got me in this hot body. Sorry to say that it's a dime a dozen. And that women who bring the actual qualities to the table, like those are the women that get the relationships, because women are the gatekeepers to sex, but men are the gatekeepers to relationships. And so there's a lot of power that men do have in these relationships. So I guess what I'm asking here is that, like, when you're saying, what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is that it seems as if women don't really bring anything to the table anymore for men, and that's why they're not getting the relationships that they want anymore. Men can get what they want because there are plenty of women willing to give that up. But then when it comes to the actual what women want, which is that relationship, if they're ever asked to bring anything to the table, die for me. What are you going to do? Go out with the girls on a Friday night to the club? Like, now you see where I'm going with
Yeah.
this?
I kind of get it. It sounds like you're just trying to flip the script on women though, because it's like, well, I don't want to provide all these things. I'm the prize. But that's isn't that kind of like a feminine concept too? Because that's how women act. It seems like in the dating world, right? Well, I'm the prize, regardless of what I could offer.
It started out as a woman thing. And I think what happened is, and certainly like myself, is that what men realize is that the truth is that we really are the prize, as a matter of fact.
Oh yeah, you guys are. It's about confidence and self-love, right?
It's not just about confidence. It's not about self-love. Those are actually more feminine kind of things. Confidence, women care about that.
Yeah, frame it that way.
Yeah,
right?
Men don't care about self-love or anything like that. Like, we barely love, other people like ourselves. It's hard to, it's hard. We don't love ourselves. Men don't love ourselves. We don't care. Here's the thing.
Yikes.
We don't love ourselves. We don't think about those kinds of things, ladies. We don't sit around thinking, do I love myself? No, that's, maybe gay men, but not straight men. We don't think about those things. But but that concept that was men are the prize, that started as a woman thing. Oh, I'm the prize, I'm the gift. But, where would we be as a civilization without men, Daniela? Think about everything that men contribute, all of the workplace. There's a reason why the workplace fatalities for men are much higher. Right? Men doing those dangerous jobs. I mean, women like yourself aren't fighting to go and work out on the oil rig, right?
I don't have it's about biological. That's what I mean. I think biology matters a lot here. I don't have the body to do that, right?
Right.
So,
but if the biological expectation is placed upon men to save your life, then the biological expectation should be that you need to give us life. You need to bring something to the table.
Compelling someone to have a child, I think, is super weird, though. I think like a woman should want to.
It's not compelling. It's not compelling. You want to be with a man who is a prize, then you need to bring something to the table.
Well, I think when it comes to relationship in a unit, like a relationship unit, once again, like a bullet for my spouse, right? No question. And I think it's sad that there are relationships out. I don't know. I can't fathom a relationship where if you love someone and you don't want to do that for them, that's kind of weird to me. Are women like that these days? That's crazy to me. I can't believe if you love someone, you wouldn't do that for them. Because that's what love is, right? If we're talking about like a relationship
I don't think
here,
so. I would not want my wife. No. I think you're thinking too masculine, Danielle. I think this is the problem with modern.
Am I?
Yes.
There's no way.
You've leaned too heavily into the masculine.
That's crazy. No. If a woman's not going to take a bullet for you, Daniela, she doesn't love you. She doesn't love you.
You are lacking the femininity that men would desire in order to look at you as a proper partner. I do not want my wife to fight the bad guy. When we talk, like I teach my wife self-defense, I teach her how to use a gun. It's always a last resort if you're trapped down an dark alley with absolutely no hope of escape, right? What I want is for my wife to run away and to get help so that while I'm fighting the bad guy, to protect her from the bad guy. So yes, I want to lean into my masculine and I want to protect her. I don't want my wife taking a bullet for me. Okay? That's my job.
Yeah.
That's my job as a man. It's not your job, right? It's my job. What's your job?
When you frame it into okay, hold on. I was thinking this is probably I'm just kind of like autistic here. So when you say take a bullet for someone, I was thinking into like a vacuum where he's tied up, he has a gun to his head. I don't know. I'm thinking it's like a black and white situation, right? If we're talking about a specific scenario where there's a home intruder and there's like more logistics at play, I think, naturally, because he would have more physical prowess, that he should probably defend and I go get help. But if there was some situation where he wasn't able to do that, whatever that may be, I would take the bullet. And I would assume most people would. I mean, most women would, but I guess What would the
I would
wife do?
think
Just
like doing
cower?
it for your child, yes, but not for your
Right.
man, right? Not for your man, right? Like you said earlier, like like the biological reality is that only women can produce. I mean, you were just saying that a few minutes ago about
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know, that only women could reproduce. Well, if that's the case, then like, and you do need to be protected, then you don't need to be taking a bullet for your man. So then what is the expectation, right? So then what is it that women bring to the table? That's really the question here. You have to have some answer for me, Daniela. What do women bring to the table for men other than just spitting out a couple of kids? We don't have to marry you for that.
Other than spitting out a couple of kids.
Right? Because again, men are
Oh,
men are the gatekeepers to relationships. What do you bring to the table other than just having babies?
My sparkling personality, Austin, obviously.
I am the table, Daniela says. I am the table. You're being a good sport, Daniela. I appreciate it.
Thank you. These conversations are fun. I like the back and forth. It's good.
It's a good dynamic. I mean, you're a highly educated woman. You've got a master's degree. You're a career professional. I remember watching you in the Jubilee dating special when you sat down. And this is the dating show where you kind of like, you hit the red button if you don't like the person that you're with, and you did not find a suitable partner there. I imagine most of those boys seem to be kind of not soy boys, but they didn't really have. I mean,
did you see the guys on that show? They were soy boys. There's no question. It was in Seattle too, so
yeah. I mean, without getting too personal, Danielle, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. But like, what kind of a man are you attracted to?
What kind of a man am I like? Well, I don't think I have a physical type, to be honest with you, Austin. It's all in the personality, like we were just talking about, right? Like he's the table.
So he could be 4 foot. He could be 4'2".
Height is so overrated. Height is so overrated.
Okay, 250 pounds, 4'2".
I physically I don't have a type, to be honest with. I mean he has to. Okay, I don't know. I need the basics there. I mean, he can't. I don't like disabled. I mean, I'm not attracted to disabled people, I guess.
Stop the cap.
So I'm not. I don't care about height, honestly. But it's all about personality, you know. I mean, I know that's such a cringe answer. Everyone says that, but it's true. It's all about the personality.
Let's see how many people are cringing on the chat stream. 2,272 people are all cringing right now.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I'm too honest. Sorry.
And thank you to Levin214 for the $50 donation, by the way. Appreciate that. And we are going to play the bonus content after I'm done putting Daniela through the ringer. Danielle, we do have to start wrapping things up there. I'll give you the floor. Tell us like what kind of a man you really would be interested in and what you bring to the table for that kind of a man.
Well, I think I bring a lot to the table. Like you said, Austin, I have if you describe me as more masculine minded, then a guy not just gets he gets a friend with benefits. So it's like having a best friend. But what I'm attracted to, I mean, like, he has to be educated and not formally. He doesn't have to be formally educated like I do, but I need a guy who's smart, you know, who's well read at my intellectual level. I think that's natural. And obviously kind, someone who's very kind, and kind to especially those the unfortunate. So I think kindness and a higher IQ are, and someone who smiles a lot too. You know, that matters also. You know, people tell women to smile a lot. Guys, you need to smile as well. It's important.
What do you bring to the table? And what do you bring to the table?
Oh, what do I bring to the table? Listen, boy, I can be a handful, Austin. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the perfect woman. I'm a neurotic mess. I'm gonna be
Daniela, go ahead. What do you bring to the table other than the fact that you're a lot of problems for a guy?
Well, I just want to get the negatives out of the way, you know. I don't want people to sign on something they're not expecting. I can be a neurotic mess, but
no.
But I think I'm also kind and virtuous, and you know, I'm assuming guys that want to get married, they do want kids, and at some point I probably will reproduce as well. I'm sure when I'm in my 30s, I'm sure I'd want a kid. So there's that. If we're gonna talk about biology here, but I think I have a pretty good personality. I am educated. I would say I'd have slightly above average IQ, so we can have conversations. And I do have a Substack, so I read a lot. So if he's ever bored, he could read my Substack as well. I'm gonna put that last plug in there at the end.
Okay, one last quick question. Do you shoot your own dog?
Would you shoot my own dog? I don't know. That's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. Never.
Okay, gotta run.
Not even for a guy. I'm sorry.
Daniela, thanks for being a good sport. You rock. We love having you on Thursdays at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Thanks for getting up so early. And again, thanks for putting up with a good-natured rib. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Have a good one, Danielle. We'll see you next week. Let's give it up for Danielle Pensac. She's a good sport, guys. Don't give her a hard time, okay? She's nice enough to come on here and do all this kind of stuff. Thank you to everybody who unlocked the bonus content. You have done it. I shall play the bonus content for you in just a moment. But I do want to remind you all that the Wake Up America show is brought to you in part by our friends over at Preserve Capital. Text the word Liberty to 50505. Find out more information about how to invest in gold and silver. They aren't going to spam you. They aren't going to bother the hell out of you. They're just going to send you more information about how to invest in gold and silver. Today's a great day to find out more. Totally free. Just text the word Liberty to 50505 now. And then you guys will get a free information packet sent back to you. Okay? There you go. What did you guys think of today's show? Good stuff? I had so much fun today. I hope you guys did too. Don't forget to exit through the Grift Shop. Thank you so much to everybody who made purchases at apforlibertyshop.com. Thank you to everybody who made donations today, like Levin214, CC. You guys made it happen. You will see the bonus content now instead of commercials as we go out. It's hard to say goodbye when you got so many people watching, but here's the thing. Of the 2,200 people watching us live this morning now, if you thought today's show was fun, you're going to love tomorrow's show. Freedom Family Friday. My smoking hot redhead libertarian wife, Stephanie, will be here. My big gay Republican brother, Justin Peterson's going to be here. Tomorrow's going to be an awesome show. So come back tomorrow morning. Austin, how do I find you tomorrow morning? Well, hit that follow button right now. Before you leave, click the follow button on the channel, and then you'll find us again tomorrow morning. The show is every Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. We have a hell of a lot of fun, all kinds of shenanigans, goofball, antics, and sometimes we even talk about the news, and, we do a little actual journalism every once in a while. So follow the Wake Up America show. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Exit through the Grift Shop at apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Wake Up America show. Bye, guys.
Wake Up America show looks at video games with libertarian themes. Today we look at a game called Papers, Please, a disturbingly relevant video game about immense cost of order.
Expansive time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you. And to wake up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at apforlibertyshop.com. So head to apforlibertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars.